Tommy Edman continues to prove that the Dodgers got the steal of the century. They absolutely fleeced the Chicago White Sox and pulled off one of the best trades in the modern era at the trade deadline. When they traded for Tommy Edman, he was injured at the time, wasn't coming off a great season. The Cardinals were willing to deal him to a team that really is one of the Dodgers' rivals, if we're being completely honest. The Cardinals are a team that really battles with the Dodgers to see, okay, who's the best team in the National League. And the Cardinals and the Dodgers, I don't want to bring up any names because I don't want any nightmare fuel or anything like that. Holiday and Adams, not going to do that. But look, the truth of the matter is when they traded away Tommy Edman to the Dodgers, it really made me think, wait a minute, like they were willing to trade him to the Dodgers, the Cardinals? I mean, there hasn't been many trades. I mean, you had the Guerrero trade in the 80s. The Dodgers traded for Call to the Cardinals. I mean, there's been some examples. But the way the trade broke down, it was a 3-team deal. White Sox and Cardinals. The Dodgers, they received in the trade Tommy Edman and minor leaguer pitcher, right-hander Oliver Gonzalez from St. Louis, and right-handed pitcher Michael Kopech from the White Sox. The Dodgers trade away Miguel Vargas and prospects Jarrell Perez and Alexander Albertos. Guys that are infielders, both were top 30 prospects for the Dodgers. This year, Miguel Vargas has been an above-average bat. He does have a home run. Not going to be an all-star most likely. Tommy Edman, on the other hand, has gone from a role player throughout most of his career, has the Gold Glove, but he was a role player, a really good player. But he's gone from a role player to a really big-time contributor to an all-star. That is the leap that he's taking with the Dodgers this year. Yesterday, he gets 4 hits, 2 doubles, and now the weighted runs created plus is up to 145. So he's been 45% above league average. And then you look at the power numbers that have been there for him early too. Already 6 home runs early on this season. 14 RBIs, slugging .575. Before this year, the highest he's ever slugged was in a full season, 400. So the ISO power at 301. Highest number he's ever put up in a full season was 150. So he's doubled his ISO power. I mean, this is a massive leap for Tommy Edman. And let the All-Star campaign start. Tommy the Tank's engine is rolling down those tracks all the way to Atlanta to make that All-Star team. That is how good he is. Because they gave up a bucket of baseballs, a better parking space, and a half-eaten bag of Doritos and a Subway gift card for an All-Star. That's what they got. And then you conclude Michael Kopech, who is extremely pivotal to their World Series run, who was under multiple years of team control, and then he's going to factor in heavily to this bullpen this year. But then you also consider that they extended Tommy Edman. They extended him. And just kind of rewind. Just kind of like, let's relive the Tommy Edman experience just a little more here. So they get him in that trade. Starts off slow. Really, it wasn't great. He was down the minor league level. Then he started off slow. And then he had the 2 games where he had multiple home runs in back-to-back games. And then really it started to click in the postseason when he was given that opportunity to take over at shortstop. So during the Padres series, after Miguel Rojas went down with that abductor injury, Tommy Edman goes in at shortstop, makes great plays, gives them some stability there. Wasn't great at the plate, hit just .235 with a .471 OPS during that series. But it was the NLCS where he exploded. Against the Mets in the NLCS, he was incredible. He had .407, had a .393 on base, slugged .630, hit a home run, had 11 RBIs, had 11 hits. It was tied for the most in franchise history in a postseason series. He won NLCS MVP. And it wasn't just that. It was the fact that he took over shortstop, a position where they were desperate because Mookie wasn't able to play the position last year full time. And then Rojas gets injured. And then you don't really feel good about the bat options there early on for shortstop with Kike, who you needed in center, and then Chris Taylor. So he takes over the position. And then also, if you guys don't remember, the Dodgers were getting dominated by Sean Manaea early on in that NLCS. Game 2, he absolutely dominated them, and they lost that game. But it was Game 6. Game 6, Tommy Edman hit a 2-run double down the left field line. That put the Dodgers up 2-1 in the clincher in the first inning. And then he had a 2-run home run to end Manaea's night, and that put the Dodgers in the World Series. Then in the World Series, he played well too. Hit 294, slugged 588. He had a home run against Carlos Rodon in Game 2. That put the Dodgers up 1-0. So he was fantastic in the postseason. The difference, though, this year is early on with the Dodgers, when he wasn't as great at the plate, he was not faring well against right-handed pitchers. Last year against righties, he was struggling. He hit 181 against righties, 2 home runs. Lefties, he was great, hit 412 with 4 home runs. But this year, that 181 batting average against righties has gone up to 313. He's hitting 313 against righties with a 942 OPS, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and 1 triple in 48 at-bats. Tommy the Tank's engine is on a railroad headed for Atlanta to make the All-Star team. Is it the best deadline trade in Dodgers history? I still think that the Dodgers could have found a way to win a World Series without Tommy Edman, possibly. But, man, it's also look, without Tommy Edman, do the Dodgers win the World Series? Maybe, but I wouldn't want to be in that situation without Tommy Edman. I mean, he was absolutely crucial to that World Series run. I do think that the fact that you extended him to that 5-year, $74 million deal absolutely puts him in that conversation for sure. But I will say that there's a couple trades that come to mind. And the first one, you got to think about growing up as a Dodgers fan and Manny Ramirez. When the Dodgers traded for Manny Ramirez, it was unlike anything that I had ever experienced at the time as a fan. I mean, I, of course, heard the stories of Fernando Mania and things like that. But Manny Ramirez absolutely took over baseball after the trade deadline there in 2008. He had a 1232 OPS, 14 doubles, 17 home runs in 53 games. And if he was in a lineup with Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman, I'm sure he would have had a lot of success as well. I think the thing about Tommy Edman, though, is that he gives you that defense that they definitely needed. And he just made great plays. And then also another trade I want to bring up, too, is Max Scherzer and Trea Turner. And yes, the Dodgers didn't go on to win the World Series that year, but they did finish a game behind the Giants in the division. Max Scherzer was great. He posted a 198 ERA in 11 games. And I will say, it wasn't a World Series win, but I love that the Dodgers have that NLDS win over the Giants, because the Giants fans are like, oh, we won the division. We won 107 games with Gabe Kapler, roided out manager, and we won the division, and we're going to beat you. And then, no, the Dodgers, they won on the road, and Max Scherzer was a big reason why, and SF stood for season finished. And I definitely love that. But only time will tell. It's certainly up there. It's certainly up there within the best in-season trades. I mean, 2018, the Dodgers, I don't think would have gotten to the World Series without Manny Machado. That was a decent in-season trade as well. But just for the recency bias of it all, if Tommy Edman makes the All-Star team this year and he's pivotal to another World Series win, absolutely. I mean, you can already make the case that he is now, but I will say that he's not going to reach the heights offensively that Manny Ramirez did with the Dodgers. He just won't for that stretch. But the Dodgers didn't win the World Series that year. Last year they did. So I'm fine with it, but I will say it's a little TBD. I want to see him sustain this for the full year. And after that, then I think we'll certify him as the best in-season trade. I think that Manny Ramirez is still the best in-season trade as far as the production of it all, but it does look bad just because of the steroids and everything that happened after the fact. So we'll see. If Edman has a couple good years, All-Star team, another World Series, I think certainly he would be, because Manny Ramirez, if they won that series, he would have probably won World Series MVP, right? But yeah, I guess we'll say that that's what Tommy Edman did and what Manny Ramirez could have done. So I guess you got to give the edge to Tommy Edman. So definitely right there for the best in-season trade in Dodgers history.